join Spurs to the great Bill Nicholson. And he said to me when I walked in, Steve, if you play quick, easy and accurate, you'll have a career.
Good cross there by Evans, clipped nicely there, and Perryman following it in. Chivers with a 1-2, Perryman! Yes! Beautifully played by Spurs. Goal will do wonders for this game now. As Knowles takes another corner for Tottenham, it's a deeper one this time towards Mike England. Perryman in there!
He's the best skipper I've played under. But a great example for me as a young player coming in, you know, and I still, if I see him now, I still call him Skip. And that's the respect I've got for him, you know, and all the players out here.
Dane trying to get round Cooper and does so. Oh yes! Perryman!
Knowles' cross, Gilzean's header, Perryman!
The reason he won the award that year was not because of his individual flair, it was because of his team play. He motivated that side that won back-to-back FA Cup finals.
Tottenham's ninth corner. Perryman shot! He's done it again!
I'm a leader, I'm a captain, I'm a driver. That's what I do. I elevate special talents like Glenn, like Ozzy, like Ricky, like Mickey Hazard. I elevate them up to do their job.
I think the big thing about Steve Perryman was that he was a terrific manager. So anything that I wanted doing on the field, he would be the one that carried it on there for me.
Another 3 goals left Aussie's team on the wrong end of a 4-1 thrashing. It was the worst of possible starts.
The next minute, the very next minute, is the most important one.
Way! Hello Spurs fans, it's Paul Hotspur Hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. And as usual, I'm going to quickly acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from where I'm streaming today, the Wallumeteggle people of the Darug Nation. Ingani Warramee, have we got a treat for you? Welcome to mobs and people all over Australia and all over the world. And recognise that sovereignty wasn't ceded, always was and always that will be Aboriginal land. And we've got a treat here because when Steve goes up to lift the FA Cup, we'll be there, we'll be there. How are you, Steve? Steve Perryman.
We were there.
Twice.
We were there 7 times in 18 months.
Wow, man.
What a run of games at Wembley. A lot of really good players. Liverpool patch. We played there 7 times. 2 charity shields and a League Cup final that unfortunately we lost to Liverpool. But yeah, what a run of games.
So how are you, Steve? How's your family? Have you been up to much?
They're all fine. They're all well. Although my wife's got a bit of a bad back, but We've been visiting specialists for the last couple of weeks, having injections. And since I spoke to you last, we have regular visits to Portugal for a bit of sunshine, normally out of holiday season in England. And Portugal is about 21, 2, 3, which is great, not too hot. So I should be playing golf when I'm in Portugal, but I don't play golf, but just lay back and relax. The other relaxation was we just come back from northern Norway, where my friend has had a cabin built.
Wow.
You fly into Tromsø, which is right up in the north, and it was like going back to nature. We were free and fresh air and fresh sun for a week. And I have to say, the most we did was just look at the scenery, the fjord, and water and boats, and ate. We ate a lot of fish, and but truly fantastic. And two of the other visits were to the Channel Isles, Jersey, with a group of Spurs legends. They were all going to play golf on Jersey and raise money for a charity, and also celebrate the 40th anniversary of the UEFA Cup win, 1984.
Wow,
also
40 years, man.
The 30th year of the Jersey Spurs forming. So that was nice. Couple of 2 or 3 days there and a couple of great nights. And then I personally took Keith Birkinshaw to Guernsey, the sort of sister island to Jersey. And we celebrated ourselves about the UEFA Cup win, because obviously Keith really put that team together. And when you think of how many homegrown players they were competing on that famous night when we beat Anderlecht on penalties, the only two to survive from the relegation, the promotion season, was myself and Glenn. And of course, against Anderlecht, I was suspended. Glenn was injured. So Keith Birkinshaw had his fingerprints on every one of those players that performed that night, and of course in the tournament itself. So that was his last game for Tottenham. We all know that story. So I took him back to Guernsey. We had a great 5 days together, and ended up with a dinner there. And Keith was great. Told it like it is, as he does, and he's a bit of old school management, and but it was just great. So he's 89 years of age. He's going to celebrate his 90th. A few of us have been invited to that in June next year, and yeah, but he's in fine fettle. He's fit. Yes, he uses a walking stick, but he's fine. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw the picture you posted of Keith's 89th birthday, and I thought, wow, man, there's him, and I had Paul Trevelyan on not so long ago, who's just turned 90, and I'm thinking, I mean, that's a long way ahead of me, but I want to be like them. They're great outlook.
Yeah. Well, I think Keith doesn't worry about too much. I think maybe that's a bit of a clue. He just gets on with it. And I think I've used the term before, that generation will get on with it generation. And, I've heard you just mention it, the words I said, the next minute is the most important minute in a football match. And you know what? The next situation is it's the only thing you should worry about, because it's gone. The past is gone. Get on with it and make the best of it. And I think that leads to Keith being a clear mind, and that's what he is.
Okay, I'm just getting a notice from Zoom that because I'm using the free one, I've got 10 minutes left, so I'll send you another link when this runs out, Steve. This is technology, man. So I saw that picture, which blew my mind, actually, because it was just like too much Spurs in one place. With it was Ange Postecoglou, Keith Birkinshaw, Maxi Miller, and yourself. I mean, I thought that it was a fake photo when I first saw it. How did that meeting come about? When was it? How was it?
Well, there was actually about 12 of us there. That picture that you saw, maybe one I sent you, was just a sort of framed picture.
Oh,
And so we all got invited to celebrate the 84 UEFA Cup win. Got invited to the training ground, and this was held in the lodge. You're not allowed to call it a hotel, but it is. It's called the Lodge, and we had a lovely lunch there. We were hosted by Donna Cullen, and she's one of the main directors at Spurs. And thankfully, Ange had finished his session and came over to us to pay respect. And what I really liked was Mark Falco held his hand out and said, "Hello, Ange, I'm Mark Falco." And he said, "I know who you are. I know who you are." And he spoke to us probably for about 3 or 4 minutes, a little speech. And he told the story because they'd just been beaten 4, I think, at Newcastle.
Ooh.
This was a few days later. And he said, the training's been very keen and very sharp, as you would expect after a 4-0 drubbing. He said, and the world and his wife has told me how we should defend. And you know what I've told them? I've told them next time we'll score 5.
Yes, that's the way you do it, man. That's it. That's what I've been telling people.
So he's got a purpose and he's got a plan. And anyone that says he hasn't got a plan B and all this nonsense. And so I'm sure we was all disappointed after Leicester. Having said that, we saw the signs. We saw the signs in that first half. Wow, did we? And then the boys come back with a bang after a poor second half against Leicester, against Everton, and rightly won the game. And we're all feeling a bit brighter about ourselves. And guess what? A clean sheet. A clean sheet. Sonny is back on the goal scoring one. The new player, the left winger, looked sharp and aggressive with his running. And when you think about it, anything good that happens in a football match, there's something dynamic about it. The winger takes the fullback on, and he's gone. And Van der Ven steams through the middle of their team, and then lays the perfect ball for Son to score. But it's done with tempo, not out of control, but it's dynamic. Any good play is dynamic. And I think that's what Ange is looking for from his players. And if it's possibly one of the reasons I haven't spoke to Ange privately about anything, actually. But you wonder why the Argentinian player, you would know his name more than me, the midfield player that doesn't seem to get a game. But that might be the reason why he doesn't get a game, because he's not dynamic enough.
Right.
And for instance, Basuma absolutely mugged himself with his antics. And do you know what? He's very brave, very, very brave man if he thinks he can sort of mess about with Ange. I've never sampled it, but I wouldn't like to either. And therefore, I think Ange told him a few home truths. And then all of a sudden, he tightened his game up. Got left out, tightened his game up. His passing to people was sharper, was stronger. So much so a couple of times I thought, oh, you've overdone it. Oh, no, he's got it. The receiver's got it. And I bet you he was thinking, what can I do to make this up? I've got to be good. I've got to be strong. I've got to be purposeful. I've got to pass the ball right. I've not got to be sloppy, because there was a bit of that creeping into his game. And then of these positive thoughts, I bet you he thought, and actually to score would really do it for me, would get me back on the level surface. And guess what? He scored. And it goes to prove to me, which I've always thought, is that the mind leads the body. His mind was preparing to play right, to make it up to the supporters, to make it up to Ange, to, get himself back in the good books with the other players. And guess what? He delivered. That might have been, that one game off, might have been the best thing that could happen to his career. Because actually, before he come to us, when he did come to us, I was delighted.
Yep.
Because purposeful, striding through the opponents, striding through challenges. And then he came to us, and all he did was get the ball and pass it straight back. Bump, bump. And that was probably some Conte coaching. But it took away the reason why we bought him. And thankfully, hopefully, he's going to be back to his best again.
Excellent.
Van der Ven.
Oh, it's incredible, wasn't it?
How this player is progressing. He's got a pass in him. He's got a run in him. He's got a turn and a run in him. He's got a notice where anything done. I learned it. No one taught me this. I learned this when I played at the back in the second division days. That if you're purposeful with a ball and you run between two players, especially two frontmen, who are really sort of normally lazy when it comes to trying to win the ball back, they both sort of half go, but leave it to the other one, and you just get through them. And do you remember one of the best goals we've seen at White Hart Lane? Son's goal against Burnley.
Oh, wow.
Just watch it again with my words, what I've just said. Run between two players.
I think
when you run between two players, there's doubt from them both. And they hoping that the other one does something about it. But actually, no one does anything about it. And that's why the gap opens up. And but Van der Ven, I'm excited about this kid. No, he's not a kid. No, bad word. I'm fed up with reading about kids. They're young players.
Yep.
And I'm excited about his development, which is wonderful. And I've seen criticisms of the Man United manager being Dutch. Why didn't he know about this fella and sign him? And it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think Glenn Hoddle's last goal at White Hart Lane was a bit like that as well. He just saw the players. You know, there was a couple of players and they didn't know, and then he ran in front of the shelf, and it's right. I'm gonna end this one here so I don't cut you off mid flow. I'll send you another link. It'll be in a couple of seconds, Steve. Sorry about this. I didn't know this.
I'll have to get my wife to link me back in.
Okie dokie. No worries.
All right.
See you in a second.
All right. Bye.
All right, folks. I think you can still hear me. Yeah, bloody Zoom, eh? Bloody Zoom. We'll be back in a second. Just going to get the copy invite link. There we go. Seamless, eh? Mark this off on your bingo cards. Another cock up. I didn't realise it only lasted for an hour. All right. Hello everyone in the chat. Hello everyone in the chat. Brilliant, eh? Brilliant. Steve will be back in a second. There's a time limit on Zoom meetings for an hour, so I was chatting to Steve a bit beforehand, and so I ran out of time. So I've just set up another meeting, and he'll be back in a second. But what a start, eh? What a start! This is fun, man. This is fun. Now, I will be asking Steve a couple of questions from you guys that I've got, and also as it says down below here, should do. Let me just check. It still says that. Oh yeah, it will be coming up. I've switched super chats off, so if you want to say thanks to me or Steve, there's a link to Steve's charity, the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust. Maybe slip them a few quid instead, you know. So we'll wait and see if Steve comes back on his end. This happened last time, but I thought this only happened if you scheduled the meeting, you see. I didn't schedule this one, so I thought you can just go forever. No technology. Let's have a quick look at the chat while Steve's... There's Destiny 5, Pierce Barrow. I'll see if I can slip him your question. Jacob, g'day. Leo, I got America turning up. And oldie worldy Australia. Yes, sorry, and g'day, man. Nice to see you. Welsh gal, yes. Here we go. Oh, well, it's nice to hear Steve talking about positively about Ange. Oh, hang on. Got a new link. Okay. Steve's got the link. He's just doing stuff. Yeah, we're going to score 5 goals. That's the way you do it, man. That's the way you do it. Oh, seamless, man, seamless. Just having a look. Well, I think P.S. Barrow. What does Keith think of Ange? I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, hit the like button. What's this? Got comments showing up twice. Oh. Yeah, Jacob. Almost as if a former pro and ex-Tottenham captain knows more than YouTubers, isn't it? Eh? Isn't it? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I'm gonna ask Steve in a second about some old school management. About the old managers Bill Nicholson and places like that. We'll talk a bit about the present, but we'll dig into the past a little bit. No, because when I sent Steve the link for the first one, I thought I'll send it early. Get ahead of the game. And then I went and had breakfast and I came back and he was sat there. It's like, sorry, Steve. So that's why we ran out of an hour. Blind as a bat, Steve's first captain at Tottenham is my hero, Dave Mackay, eh? Well, it's a club full of heroes, isn't it? It's a club full of heroes, Dave Mackay, man. Yeah, if I was born a few years earlier, man, I was glad I was born where I am because I got to see players like Steve and Glenn and Ozzy, Graham Roberts. I saw these people playing in Spurs shirts, so... fun days, but yeah, Dave Mackay, man, you wouldn't cross him lightly, I don't think. Very stern man, but a great footballer. I've watched quite a lot of Dave Mackay, and I think he's got the reputation as being that hard man. That photo with him and Billy Bremner, but he was very skillful, great leader. So Steve's got the link. He's just working on getting back in. I'm sure we're all patient. It's my cock up anyway, you know. Tony Galvin, man, yeah. Spurs. Galvin is 2-2's right. Spurs, if 2-2's right, but Galvin wants to go on his own. Villiers, still Ricky Villiers. Oh, here we go. All right.
Hi, Paul.
Hello, we're back.
Hey. We got it.
Wait a minute.
Hi, Kim.
Hiya.
Nice to see you.
There you go. I'll let you.
All right, sorry about that, Steve. I didn't realise there was an hour limit on the cheapo freebie one there. So
no problem.
Just staying with the present a little bit. I had a question from a view of P.S. Barrow. If there was a prime Steve Perryman with your experience now, where do you think you would like to fit into Tottenham as we play now? Do you think there'd be a place for you somewhere? I mean, obviously he's captain, but you know.
Difficult that. My favourite season was the second division season.
Really?
When I played alongside a centre half, so not as a sweeper, but I did sort of sweep behind Keith Osgood. And I did that because I'm defensively minded, made good defensive decisions. Danger, bigger danger. Danger left, danger right, bigger danger left. Go and act upon it. And but also to bring the ball out and start the playoff. And that's what I really loved doing. So I'd like to play in a back three in the middle of the two centre backs we got now, which would be a bit harsh on others. I know I don't suggest I could knock someone out of that team.
Oh, well, so we've got 12 players. But
then of course I'd be captain, because I actually have a few doubts about Son's captaincy. Nice man, whatever, but it's as I've described before, it's not a popularity contest. It's not about being liked, it's about being respected. And of course, it's the relationship that the captain has with the manager, and therefore the manager has to pick the captain. Therefore, Ange has picked his captain, and who am I to criticise it? But I just have doubts that he's not a pitch captain. I think he could be a dressing room one, for harmony and camaraderie and all the bit. But can he change the flow of the game? Can he get at players that need getting at? For instance, I saw Werner against Leicester, and I thought he needed direction from the pitch, and who was going to give it to him? Son himself got lost in that second half. So was he giving himself a talking to at Leicester? Because sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to, wait, come on, liven yourself up. So yeah, that's what ideally I would want to, a bit easier on the legs than being in the jungle of midfield, where you're running about like a blue-ass fly. But from the starting the game off, and I think it's more relative today because teams back off you, whereas in our day they still come for you in ones and twos, but not very organised. Now teams just tend to back off to the halfway line, Well, go on then. Are you going to keep passing square and square and square again? We know that don't work. Someone has to take the initiative. And therefore, a midfield player playing at the back who's used to being in possession of the ball is perfect, which is why Dyer looked to be such the right choice for playing at the back, but he actually didn't do it. He didn't bring the ball out. So anyway, that's the answer to my question.
Right. Well, another guy like Graham Roberts, he made a nice little run in the '82 final.
He could run it in there. He had the balls and the spirit to run it in there. And of course, there's going to be a time when you get caught in possession. I mean, goalkeepers are getting caught in possession now, as we saw, and on a couple of occasions over the weekend, or in the first couple of games. So it's always possible to get caught out with it, and it's particularly dangerous if it's a backline player. But like I said, nobody taught me how to do it. I just worked it out for myself, how best to do it. And I'd be rather good at teaching people to do that as well.
So as far as old school managers, I mean, you hear any, player of that era talk about, managers like Bill Nick or Brian Clough or Bill Shankly. I mean, these were hard, like granite-like men. Very rarely would give a player praise, would be quite hard when it came to maybe negotiating a contract. I heard Pat Jennings on BBC Radio the other day saying when he signed from Watford, and Bill said to him, "What do you mean you're on 35 quid at Watford? I can find out, So the stories seem to be a lot about, stick instead of carrot. But at the same time, these managers, the players were just played out of their skins, and these managers created great teams. How was it as a player? What was it about Bill Nick that brought all of that out of you and the other guys in the team?
The manager of the time set the tone. Can't tell you about other teams because I only know about Tottenham. Thankfully, they set the tone of everything. They led the club. If you lead a club with a history of Tottenham Hotspur, and by the way, Bill Nick created a lot of that history himself with the double team and the Cup Winners' Cup win, etc. Then you had to have total respect. You were some sort of mug if you didn't respect this man giving you instructions from all his wealth of experience. And the fact that he was leading you, guiding you, setting the tone for you and others was actually enough because that meant he trusted you. The fact you were in his squad, he trusted you. So you'd have to be really, really stupid to let him down. So he was hard, he was harsh. And I remember Alan Mullery being a captain, standing up to him one day at the end of a game when he was being harsh on Martin Chivers. And he said, "Bill, why don't you give him a bit of praise? Why don't you stop just getting at him? Give him a bit of praise. He's trying. Bill is trying." Is he? Will you leave that to me, will you? and it wasn't disrespecting Mullers, but what he's saying is, I'm the captain, and that player's not doing what I want. And the only way I'm going to get it out of him is telling him, keep telling him, and practicing it. And then he can deliver what I want. Again, I might have told you this before, but I think there was 2 games where he didn't play, Chiv. And you know what his instruction was? Go to watch West Ham play and watch every single minute that Jeff Hurst plays. Now, that is very harsh. That is very harsh. Having said that, Jeff Hurst scored 3 in the World Cup final. So, yeah. So take that as read. So this was probably 68. Yeah, 68 before I got in the team. So and that went round the training ground like wildfire. He's not picking Chiv, and he's sending him to watch Jeff first. So I was telling someone the other day, and I thought this would be a good one for you to hear. So I played my third game at Liverpool away. Tommy Lawrence in goal, Ron Yates, Tommy Smith, Lawler, Callaghan, Thompson. Very, very good team. Haven't quite taken off yet, but we're about to. But we had Jimmy Greaves and Mike England and Pat Jennings and Cyril Knowles, Gilly, etc. And I'm 17. It's my third game. And I play, and I got to tell you, I played and I competed for my life. There was something about that atmosphere. Well, I would have done anyway if there had been 10 people there. But when it's the cops fall and they're baying for your blood and they want you to fall over. They want you to foul. Guess what? That's when you stand up. So 17, and at the end of the game, before managers had to parade in front of the cameras, who did they parade off? They went and found each other and talked about football and the game itself, etc. And Bill Shankly says to Bill Nicholson, "Who's your tiger?" Now, what a lovely compliment that is for 17-year-old Steve Perryman playing in midfield if I'd have been told.
Oh, no. Well, I suppose you could have got carried away with the theories hearing something like that, maybe.
That's why they didn't praise you. So, you know, when I found that out, that Bill Shankly had said that about me, the next season, when we went to play at Liverpool away, by this time they'd signed Kevin Keegan from Scunthorpe. I think they beat us this time. The first game was 0-0. Anyway, the second one, with Kevin Keegan in the team, I think they beat us. And Bill Shankly says to Bill Nicholson, when they didn't have to go in front of the cameras, "Bill, my tiger's better than your tiger."
No way, man.
Just imagine if I'd have been told that when it happened, say on the way home in the train. "Hey, Steve, Bill Shankly liked you." Again, to the wrong person, might have got carried away with it. I personally don't think I would have done, because I actually don't take praise that easily. So, and yet they would also write. Someone sent me an interview that Eddie Bailey gave, and Eddie Bailey was asked a question about this young player that's got in the team. How's he doing? Eddie Bailey said in print, but would never say this to me personally, "Steve Perryman's got a chance of being a player because his heart is much bigger than his head." So they're just giving you the messages, albeit not direct to you. They come at you another angle at a different timing. They were masters at keeping your eyes on the ball, keeping your head in shape, just keeping you under control. And remember, there was no agents then. There was no people blowing smoke up your backside. My family never did it. I was never told by anyone at any age, under 10s, under 11, under 50, whatever. I was never told you're the best player in the team. You're a fantastic player. I was never actually told I was shit either. It was very level from my brother. My parents didn't really have an opinion. The schoolmasters, the young coaches at Tottenham. It was all in control. And I think that gave me a long career.
A very long career. Wow.
Keep under your hat. Keep a lid on it.
So apart from Bill, were there any? This is a question from Elvis G. Were there any players at the time when you were starting out that really influenced you? Who were your biggest influences as players at that time?
Hi, Elvis. Yeah. Just not that he ever really spoke to me, but Dave Mackay is influence on the training ground at Cheshunt or in the White Hart Lane was just immense. Just immense. He only had to look at you in a way, and you thought, oh, does he like me? Is he going to say something to me? But just lifted you with just the look, and it weren't a kindly look by any means. So Dave Mackay, proper man, proper captain, and then I think I've said this before that Gilzine was my man in later years when I got in the team and room with him. He led me. He led me to enjoy the game, to know that there's going to be some tough times, but enjoy yourself, but at the right time. But the other one was Alan Mullery, who followed Dave Mackay as a captain. Again, a proper man, didn't step back from anyone, never took a backward step against an opponent, and stood his corner and was a bloody good player to boot. So I had some good influences on me as captains, of course. And then someone like Pat Jennings, cool, calm, softly spoken Pat, who, no goalkeeper coaches in those days, as he said on that interview you mentioned earlier. And no moaning, got on with life, got on with his practices, nothing flash about him, didn't talk down to anyone, was one of the world's greatest goalkeepers.
Oh.
And but so humble. And then, that's something for you to look at. Or if you are humble yourself, you're thinking, well, I'm not doing too bad because Pat's that same type, So, but all players that were well led, Bill Nick led them. And he led me as well.
Well, unlike yourself or Pat Jennings, whose hair has never changed, whenever someone mentions like Gilly or Ralph Coates, I have to invoke a comb over to feel the power of them because, I've watched a fair bit of Spurs in the early 70s, and I mean I love watching Gilly play and Cyril Knowles as well, and it's a very exciting team. Very exciting team.
What a left foot. What a left foot.
Crazy.
Cyril.
So I've got to.
How did he not play for England more? Cyril Knowles.
No, I don't know. Well, there's question marks all over England selection over the years, really, isn't there? So
you know the dressing room banter. So very, very sharp, I got to tell you. And one day, one player said to Ralph, have you been to the hairdressers? Yeah. He said, what do you ask for? Ralph mumbled some answer. He said, I think you asked for a short back and swoop.
But I've got the theory about the comb over is we know it's not fooling anyone, but the thing is when you lose your hair, just having a few strands, it feels nice.
Yeah.
So they're doing it. Nice. They're doing it for themselves.
Oh, it looks nice.
Oh, thanks. I'll do.
Trust me, looks good. Some more questions. Come on.
Yeah. So I've got a question from Jacob, who's he's a Spurs fan, runs a Spurs channel called United Spurs of America, and he's in El Paso, Texas. And he wanted me to ask you, what's your biggest memory? And I like the way he phrased this from your 2 European Cup wins, and I like the way he says 2 European Cup games, because Steve alone has won more European glory than Arsenal in all their history. So there you go.
Hi there. So I've answered this before, but I cannot turn away from AC Milan semi-final, first leg at home, 4th game in 6 days. And if you watch the highlights, if you tell me anyone's tired on that pitch, I'll have an argument with you. And we went a goal down to a lad called Benetti, who was called the Englishman as his nickname, because he was a tough midfield player. Put one in the top corner, and must have been a great shot because Pat didn't even dive for it. And so it's game on, first leg. Italians, very difficult to play against, to score a goal against. And I ended up scoring 2 goals that night. So it was obviously my birthday as such, without being my birthday. But it was in terms of taking, I very rarely had 2 shots at goal, let alone scored 2 goals. And I did. So it was my night, and didn't get us through, but it gave us the platform to go and get a draw in Milan in a very hostile atmosphere, full house. And Mullers scored a wonderful goal to put us a goal up and eased everyone's nerves a bit. And they eventually got a penalty that I got booked for, but didn't have anything to do with it. It was Philip Bill, but I got booked. Anyway, not that it cost me anything. And so we went through and got back to the dressing room and found out that instead of playing Ferencváros of Hungary, we were going to play Wolves.
How did that go down? Because I don't know, you sort of expect the glamour tie or something, and you're playing a team you play twice at least every year.
It was a little bit of a downer, actually. And not so much us, but the wives. The wives had been promised that wherever we played, the club was going to pay for them to go and, do a bit of sightseeing and whatever. So guess what? Not too many of them wanted to go to Wolverhampton.
Well, Ferencváros are playing Borat's Banja Luka in a knockout for the European, for the UEFA Cup, I'll just call it that, because I've got friends over there and they want Tottenham to go over there and play because it's a small club and they'd love it. They'd love it. I mean, but just thought the bit about game managed before your second goal against AC Milan. There was a bit where, there was an Italian and he wouldn't retreat from the ball. And, he's trying to time waste and muck around. Yeah, and
absolutely.
To me, looking at it, that was a part that led into your second goal that night. Would you say? Or?
Well, because they're lacking a player. And as a very good friend of mine described one night to a Bayern audience down in Exeter, that when we defend a corner, I've worked out 15 positions I wanna defend, and we've only got 11 players, so there's got to be 4 positions that we don't defend. Well, when you've only got 10 men, there's an extra position that you can't cover. The question from the audience was, why do you bring everyone back from a corner? And so Paul Tisdale, my friend, was explaining about this. You use as many players as you can because the point is you're defending a corner. So you're not waiting to go on the next attack. You're defending a corner. And of course, if we defend the corner and it comes out, it comes straight back, but then we have to defend that. So I would say that I was given a bit more room for the second goal because they only had 10 men on the pitch. And that's the problem with game management. I was never told in all my years as a Spurs player, as a 15-year-old or a 36-year-old, I was never told to waste time. I was never told to kick the ball to the corner flag. I was never told to kick the ball away from someone needing to take a free kick against us. I was never told to get at the referee. I was never told to kick that player out of the game because he's a good player and he could beat us. do you know what? You put yourself up with your abilities against your opponent, and you try your best, and you concentrate on playing football, and you concentrate on playing at tempo and moving the ball quick and moving your opponent around. And guess what? If we do that right, we should win. I think that's how Ange plays as well. You look how quick the goalkeeper uses the ball. Even when the ball goes out of play over his dead ball line, he runs to get it. He doesn't wait for the ball boy to throw it back to him. He runs to get it. That's someone who's got a purpose about the tempo that he's been told to play at. And I thank Ange for that, because I've seen so many games at White Hart Lane where the team opponents get a goal up and then waste time for their life. And the biggest time waster in the history of football is a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And referees, if they ever got a yellow card out for time wasting to the goalkeeper, they wait until the 87th minute. And actually, the goalkeeper's been wasting time for 30 minutes up to now. So do it earlier, will you, to stop it? That's where referees have not got a brain, I'm afraid.
There's another YouTuber, Chris Cowlin, and after it was last year, Sheffield United tried the whole time wasting thing. It didn't work out for them. So Chris, what he did was he walked up the high road ahead of the Sheffield United bus and just pushed every pedestrian crossing to waste their time on the way home. It was petty.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
All right, I got a question here from Lee Richards. He'd like to thank you for sticking with us when we got relegated in '77 and helped get us back up again. And he'd like to know your opinion of Terry Neal's time as a Spurs manager, who's never, obviously for his connections, generally popular, I guess, with Spurs fans, but Lisa, he made Steve the club. Is he right in saying that he made you the club captain and also kept what was a Spurs side that was struggling a bit? He kept them up for a bit longer than maybe they could have.
Hi, Lee. So, Terry Neal actually did my game a lot of good. So I actually have not got a bad word to say about Terry. Did he make me captain? In a way, he did, but Bill Nick started the process off by making me vice captain when Martin Peters failed a fitness test before Lynn Oslo in the early 70s. And he came in and he told the team, he named the team and he named me as captain, and I'm making Steve vice captain. So if Martin's ever injured again, I don't have to make that decision. Steve will be the captain. So, when someone like Bill Nick gives you the armband, it's an honour anyway to captain Tottenham Hotspur. And by the way, in terms of staying on in relegation, I played 42 games out of 42 in our relegation year. So it must have had something to do with me. I was captain. I was an influence on the pitch, but not a big enough influence. To maybe cover some weaknesses in our team. But, and you know what? Tottenham Hotspur is my club. It's our club. It's your club, Lee. And I don't care who owns it. I really don't care who owns it. It's our club. They're just looking after it for us for a little while. So, Terry Neal came in on the back of Bill Nicholson slightly losing it with age and a bit of pressure, and the team was not functioning, and I'd become particularly sort of negative in my thoughts, and he opened up the game to me. And you know how he did it? In a very simple manner. In those days, the goalkeeper kicked the ball, and by Christ, Pat Jennings could kick it.
Could score as well.
Said, yeah, he did. And he said, Steve, run forward beyond the front players who should be challenging for the ball, Gilly and Martin, maybe not Gilly then, Martin Chivers was. But run on beyond and I know I want you to do it 3 or 4 times a half, and I know that if the ball breaks back against us, that you will recover back as quick as anyone. So I'm trusting you to do that, but I just want to open your game up for you and think about forward movement. And by doing that, I think I scored 6 goals that year. And 6 goals was unheard of for me. I scored 1 goal per year for 17 seasons, but at least 1 goal. But it just got my head up and made me realize forward movement. And the game is about forward thinking, forward passing, forward movement, because that's actually what people pay for. And so I have no reason to criticize Terry Neal. In a way, because he was good for me. When Martin Peters eventually left, he did make me captain. I'd been truly disappointed if he hadn't done. And who knows, if I hadn't been captain when we got relegated, maybe we wouldn't have got relegated. But who knows? I wouldn't have had that extra feeling for the club that if the chance came, would I have taken it? I don't think so, but I don't know because it never happened. Good question, though.
I like this. This comment from Alan Bennett here, because this is a big memory I have of the '81 final. I mean, everyone remembers Ricky's goal, but it was your tackle, which I don't think it was a yellow on Jerry Gow that really sort of changed the momentum of that. So I'm just thinking, what led to that, and also what did Keith Hackett say to you about it? Was he just steady on, or?
Did I get a yellow for that?
He had a word with you, didn't he? Or
I think he had a word, but I don't think I got a
no
yellow.
Okay, good. Well, he's a good. I think he was a good ref. He was a good ref.
I don't think so. I've done a couple of events with Keith. So very nice man, and actually a very good referee.
Yeah.
The problem with the first game was it was billed as the footballers against the workers. Man City had a struggle in the league. John Bond had signed a lot of players, workman-like players, to get them out of trouble, which he did, and also got them to the cup final. And it was going to be the flair against the work. Well, guess what? The work almost won it. And it was the fact that they clamped down on Ozzy and Glenn, particularly Jerry Gow, but all of the team clamped on us and didn't allow our flair players to perform. And luckily we got away with the 1-1 draw, Glenn's in-off goal. And I'm thinking, how did I let Jerry Gow get away with that? So, of course, I was now looking for an extra chance to just let him know that I was there. And I think my job was to protect our talented players. Give them the ball. The more that Glenn Otto had the ball, the better team we were, of course. So if I could win it off any of their players and give it to Glenn, I would do. But to win it in a strong fashion was a moment for our team to think, yeah, we can play, but we can mix it as well. And of course, if you've got Roberts and Miller in your team, you can mix it. So Chrissy Hugh was the
he was the polite one, was he?
he was the smooth one. And Paul Miller used to say to left wingers, if there was a break in play or an injury or whatever, he'd say to the left winger, you, well, get over the other wing, go and stand with Chrissy, have a little chat with him. The afternoon will just fly by and you won't get kicked.
Oh, dear.
If you stay this side, he's going to get you, or I'm going to get you, or we're both going to get you. So,
a quiet word. Well, we're nearly up at the hour, Steve. So, I mean, thanks very much for your time. What do you got? Have you got anything coming up? I saw you did a podcast again the other week. Are you out and about the country or any trips around?
started the podcast again with Howard and Tom. We're probably going to do it about once a month now, unless there's something really, really important happens during that month that Mr. Levy sells or whatever. Then we would like an opinion on that. So so happy to be back on that one. Had a little bit of a rest because as I said on the podcast, I was starting to get fed up with my own voice. I've got 2 talks just starting, and I tend not to do the talks because there's traveling involved in the school holidays, and the motorways here are absolutely jam-packed. Takes you twice as long to get to anywhere. So on Monday the 9th of September, I'm appearing in Whitstable in Kent, a pub called the Rose in Bloom, and I'm going to be with Ozzy Ardiles. So it's going to be a very, very funny night because Ozzy can only be funny. I'd like him to be a bit more serious sometimes when he's telling a story, but it's usually funny. And then on the Thursday of that week, the 12th of September, I'm talking on my own in Bushy. So if you need details on either of those, then get in touch and Paul will pass them on to me, of course. So I'll be happy to answer your queries. And I'll go into Dubai, speak to the Dubai Spurs in March. So I love traveling. I love it. I'm going to visit again up to northern Norway for the nature, but also for the cold and the snow, and take in what the locals are telling me, which is such a great life. They tell me the fish up there is so tasty. It's because the water's so cold. But imagine how it is in the wintertime. So yeah, enjoying life. Retirement is great. If you lot remember Phil Bill, God bless him, good player, Phil, homegrown as well. He's just had a second new hip, like I did. So he's now recovering. So we wish him all the best. And if I get a chance to visit him on one of my visits to Exeter, I'll pop in and see him and make sure he's recovering okay.
Wonderful. Well, Steve, on behalf of myself and all the fans out there, I mean, thanks for all the wonderful memories. They were fantastic times, and good health to you and your family for the future. Thank you very much.
I'm really sorry you had to get up so early.
No, I'm up. I don't know. It's the sun's up. Sun's up. I'm awake, man.
You've had breakfast. The sun's up, and you've got the day to look forward to.
That's it.
So we're now about 10-ish here. So I'm going to be going to bed soon. So sweet dreams.
Thank you very much, Steve. Steve Perryman, the skipper. Thank you.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. That's it. Thank you.
Go. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, troops. Bye-bye.
All right, bear with me a second. I'm going to come over and say hello to you lot. Wow, I could talk for hours, but let me just switch my camera on back over here. Do. That seems to be all right. All right, hello. I mean, yeah, God, you could talk to Steve for hours, couldn't you? But it's a very wonderful gesture. I don't expect anything from ex-footballers. They've given us so much and so many smiles, but it's just an icing on top of the cherry on the cake when they do spend time talking with fans. So. I hope you all enjoyed that. Sorry about the cock up in the middle. That was my fault as usual. I couldn't really come to your comments as much because when I was switching screens, you probably noticed at the beginning the audio was quite choppy. So please forgive me. I just wanted to let Steve run there. I got loads of people in the chat. Archibald, we'll take more care of you. Archibald. Dr. Johnny, still a great captain, of course, man. Of course. The best. Mark N, that was amazing. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. JK27, I was right on the park on a few times there. Yep. So there's a couple of questions I didn't get to because I think Steve kind of answered them anyway. There was one from Martin, our old regular there. Let's have a look here. Alan Bennett Bushy around the corner. Oh, well, I'm sure Steve will let you know on his podcast. He's on Twitter. He's on Twitter as well. So I think he'll let the things there, put the dates and times up there. Wow, lots of comments. What a surprise, says Lisa. Legends on the screen and in the chat. Well, legends on the screen, man. Legend on the screen. Just scrolling up here. So many chats. Wow, man. So my apologies for not getting to them, you know. Interesting Steve's comments about Sonny there. But, you know, I think it's one thing for a YouTuber to critique Son's captaincy. It's very much another thing for our most decorated player to not critique, but, you know, maybe ask some questions. I think that's fair enough. When you've achieved as much as Steve has for Tottenham and in the game of football, your comment is much more valuable than mine or anyone else's, really. Mark Ian, I was born in 81. So I started with Spurs, and it was great to hear stories before I started supporting them. Yeah, I didn't get onto that, you know, ran out of time, but, you know, history was very important to me as a young fan. We used to love hearing the stories from older Spurs fans about, you know, Greaves and you know, Ditchburn and Blanchflower. I don't know if that happens as much these days. You know, I've got a sneaky suspicion that perhaps the Premier League has done something to hurt the history of football because all records seem to start in 1992. And you've got social media, which is all about now, what's happening now, drama now, that, you know, maybe we don't take as much time to reflect. I don't know if I'm right in saying that because I'm older, you know, maybe younger fans out there say, oh, no, we do learn about, you know, Steve and, you know, Hoddle and Ardiles and players like that. I'd like to think that still happens. It was real fun, which is why I liked that film Glory, Glory Days, because that was on TV when I was about 11 years old, and that featured all the double-winning players. It was a real love letter, well, part of Channel First Love series, a real love letter to Tottenham Hotspur. It's a great film. I haven't watched all of it yet. I want to be a nice, calm, relaxed state of mind, but it is on YouTube. I put a link in a post on the channel. Brilliant. On the Facebook, Steve's attitude seems to reflect how I imagine Ange. Let's hope those principles can bring us success. Wasn't it great to hear Steve's comments about what Ange said? You know, losing 4-0 against Newcastle. Next time we're going to score 5. That's Tottenham, man. That's Tottenham. You know, not going 1-0 up and buggering around. It's what we did on the weekend, 2-0 up at half-time and other 2 goals in the second half. That's the Spurs I grew up with. It's nice to see it's back. Interesting what Steve said about being in a back three, and I think, as he said, part of it was displacing a player, but interesting. But I mean, what manager wouldn't take? Oh God, can you imagine that? A back three: Romero, Perryman, and Van der Ven. I mean, that's off the chain. That is, isn't it? That's oh man! If I had a magic wand, we could make it happen. Peter Papa Dimitri, history is important as it's a generational transition. Yeah, I hope my feeling's wrong about that. Maybe it's just me being a bit old and cynical, but we got a cup draw. We got a cup draw in 5 minutes. I was gonna bugger off, but this is hang on. Breaking news! Breaking news! The cup draw's on in 5 minutes. Is this the League Cup, is it? League Cup? Must be the League Cup. Don't give us bloody... Oh, I think the Premier League clubs... Is this just... They don't play each other in the first round? No, that's not true, because we played Fulham. We're going to get Man City, aren't we? We're going to get Man City. Hey, I'm just going to send a message to Steve. I don't want to just tell him I just want to say just say thanks. Just finishing up the show. Thanks. That was fantastic. Because it was, man. Normal. Steve's from the neighbourhood. It's nice to see one of us get a load of success, isn't it? It's great. Carabao Cup. All right, well, Carabao Cup, eh? Well, that's something, isn't it? EFL Cup draw. EFL Cup today. Newcastle beat Nottingham Forest on penalties. What? Hang on. How come they're playing it? What? Did we get a bye or something? What happened? I don't understand. I don't understand football. Carabao Cup live. Third round fixtures revealed. The rest of the Premier League sides enter the competition. Oh, was it? Okay. Oh, that's because we ended up in this round last year, didn't we? Of course, yes, because we lost to Fulham before the transfer window ended. So it was our last chance. That's why Ange, I reckon, had to play all the other players to get a look at them to try and make a final decision. And that's as a result of that, Sanchez went to Turkey. So it was worth doing. So I've got something that's allegedly saying who we're going to have or where the draw is. It says Carabao Cup draw live. We will see. It's going to be Man City, isn't it? It's going to be Man City. Well, still, hey, don't matter. Don't matter, man. Don't matter. I can already see the cup's got blue and white ribbons on it. Sandeep Patel, I think we can't get anyone from Champions League and Europa League, but can get Conference. Right, okay. Not exactly. Yes, League Cup. No one in Europe can play each other this round. Oh, right. Right. Oh, okay. Wow, isn't that? God, they all collude together. Okay. So we're gonna get someone. We might get I don't know. I don't know. Kidderminster Harry. No, Accrington Stanley. I don't know. Who's still left in? Who are the teams left in? Draw will then take place. Come on, where's the draw? I want to see the draw. Carabao Cup draw. Is it on YouTube? Because if it's on YouTube, I can listen to it and give you my... words of wisdom. Oh, there it is. Start soon. Okay. Let me just get this set up so I can hear it. Take this off. Okay. Oh, well, right. Okay, I've got the official thing. Thanks, Alan. I was unaware of that. Coverage starts soon. Oh, how exciting is this? So I'll put my background back, my funky background back on. I hurriedly switched that off because at the beginning of the chat with Steve there, the audio was chopping in and out a bit there. So I freed up as much scant PC resources as I could muster. Okay, so what we got here? Welsh is Welsh gals in. Welsh gals in. Here we go. Buttons aren't working. Sorry, Alison. I can't sing it. That was great. Thank you both. Thank you very much, Alison. Yucky da. All right, West Ham, Newcastle are possible. Oh, well. Easy. Oh, no VAR. Hey, here we go. Oh, the buttons aren't working. I don't know why the buttons aren't working. What have I done? Oh, no, that worked. Oh, hang on. There we go. I had the volume of that turned down. There we go. A belated thing for Alison then. There we go. A token. Mark in the real Wimbledon. The real Wimbledon's in the draw. Brilliant. They scare me still because I was at Plough Lane when I was a teenager and I said something I shouldn't have to Vinnie Jones as he was taking a corner, and it was right up close, and he turned and looked at me. It looked like he was going to kill me, and I almost fainted with fear. I think I even mouthed, sorry. I really bottled it. I totally bottled it. Coverage starts soon. Oh, well, I'll do this and then I've got to get to work. So it was, yes. Steve's always got a lot of time for the fans, you know. He's really continued being a captain for the club, even though he's not really, you know, he's not doing anything official there. I don't believe. He likes to be his own man, but he does a lot for us still. He does a lot for us. And, you know, any old player you hear talking about Steve, hang on, just move that down a bit. They've always got the utmost respect for him. Caption Grandma. Could you please get Steve? His name's Steve. I know the song says, oh, Stevie, Perryman. But his name's Steve. Can you get him on each week? Yeah, it would be fun, wouldn't it? It would be fun, but you know what? I'm just grateful he's come on. It's twice now. It's twice. Once a year, you know, once a year. You know, you don't want to take the piss. Don't take that piss, Caption Grandma. Come on, man. But yeah, his podcast, he's doing it again. If you haven't listened to his podcast, it's great. Does it with two fans, Howard and Tom. Howard, who's just got the most, unlike me, because a lot of my memories from White Hart Lane are kind of, like, I don't really have too many specific memories of particular games and things like that. What I carry with me is that emotion that I felt, the atmosphere that's still very strong inside. But there's a guy called Howard who's been supporting Spurs since a long time ago, and anytime Steve mentions any game, Howard will just say, oh yeah, Alan Murray scored in the 12th minute. It's incredible. But I do like the Steve Perryman podcast, that's for sure, man. Get over there and give him a like and a subscribe. Oh, I feel a bit more relaxed. Like last time I did this, I had so many technical problems when I did this last December. So many technical problems. And also, it's like Steve Perryman. I really didn't want to, you know, bugger it up and waste his time. So I was a bit... But he very relaxing, very calming guy, you know. He's just, he's like I say, he's from the neighbourhood, you know. Betis are supposed to push for Gio. Now they've got rid of a player. Yeah, well, a couple of days left. I think what we got. When's the transfer window closes? Tomorrow, isn't it? I think it's tomorrow. Caption Grandma, I'm old enough to call him Stevie. Well, I'll have to defer to your wiser years, maybe. I'll if you're wiser years than me, man. Mark, you and Steve doing a watch along would be epic, man. I couldn't. There's no. Oh dear, oh dear. From the 1982 FA Cup song, didn't they sing "Steve can't wait to hold the hold the cup" against something like that, wasn't it? It was the 80. Tottenham's gonna do it again. They can't stop them, the boys from Tottenham, the boys from my own. Oh no, that's Ozzy's Dream, isn't it? I can't remember. The songs merge into one for me, but I will try and play one. This is my favourite. Well, I've got a couple of favourites as far as Spurs FA Cup songs go, apart from the Chaz and Dave ones, which are all-time classics. I should be able to get away with playing 2 seconds of this without playing it. This is from the 61 double team. This is the Tottenhamites, and it's tip-top Tottenham Hotspur, and it's pure showbiz. Tip-top! There we go, that'll do. I don't want to, don't want to bugger it up. But while we're waiting, here's one I know I can get away with. While we're waiting for the draw. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. And the Spurs go marching on. Tottenham are the greatest team the world has ever seen. Tottenham are the greatest team the world has ever seen. Tottenham are the greatest team the world has ever seen. And the Spurs go marching on. Hey! That was the 1967 FA Cup winning team. Featuring Dave Mackay. And this is on YouTube. There's a clip of Spurs training before the 1967 FA Cup finals. Interesting training, actually. And there's Dave Mackay, man. What Steve was saying about him, being tough. He was tough in this interview. He said, look, we've got a good side here, but we haven't won anything yet. So, that's the standards, man. That's the standards of Tottenham Hotspur. That's what we are. Richie B, you missed Skipper, but you can rewind it, man. You can rewind it. Mark, in 48 hours, the window slams shut. I wish they mix up the metaphors a bit on that as well. That'd be funny. I'm sure they must do it. When a presenter's talking on the fly. The transfer window screeches to a halt. Yeah, that's it. With Steve goes up to lift the FA Cup. We'll be there. We'll be there. They're great days. They were great days, man. Wonderful days. On the shelf. Yeah, like I was saying to Steve, the Glenn Hoddle's last goal, that's one thing that really does stick in my mind, because that was so special, because, he's going off to Monaco, and like Steve says, two players, and they didn't know. There might be more than 2 players, actually, but who's going to go for you? Who's going to go for you? Neither of them. Brilliant. Cheers, Paul, for the anthem, as always. Of course. This channel doesn't shy away from cheap gimmicks. Blinders about eye the window, Kurt. Here we go. This is it. The window closes. The window curtain closes and the red light goes off. Like it's a real tangible thing instead of a point in time. Yeah, Oxford United, man. That was it, Oxford United. Who Steve went on and played for, of course, and could have well won another League Cup, but he was cup tied, so he couldn't take part. There's still not much happening here on this draw here. It's a long 5 minutes. I've got to get to work though, Alan. I'm buggered. Caption Grandma. I understand Steve's question marks about Sonny as captain, but let's face it, he's comparing Sonny to himself. And captains like Perryman are a rarity. Or maybe, captains from Steve's era as well. Like I say, I'm not arguing with Steve Perryman about captaincy. You'd have to be a mug to do that. So I think you just pay attention to it. Pay attention to it. Sean's non-existent hairline. What a great show, hipster. You've pulled it out the bag again. Well, thank you. I did have might have had a bit of assistance on this one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mark Ann, it's on the way. The draw, apparently. Well, so Sky Sports have just said it's on shortly. So they just want you to hang around for more gambling adverts today. Is that that's what the go there is? Oh, wow. Okay, I just had a message there from Steve. But it's a message to me. But it's... Wow. Okay, thank you. Wow. Dear, oh dear. That in the clip of the Steve Perryman video, there's that bit talking about Steve saying how he elevated players. I think that's a really good word. I used to say lift or whatever, but elevate's a good word, and that's what Steve did didn't just do it for players. He did it for all of us as well, didn't he? And he's just done it for us now, and me personally. That's the kind of guy he is. Proper old school. Just going to flick my camera on and off because I can see it's flickering a little bit. Do you activate? Activate. There we go. Oh, here we go. Alan Bennett's on it. Breaking news, 2 minutes for the League Cup draw. Ooh, the tension. The excitement. Steve's won it twice. How about that? He's won it in 71 and 73. With a nice UEFA Cup sandwich in the middle. And if Steve was talking about that game against AC Milan in the early 70s, like I've been saying, that there's so many games from Spurs in the early 70s available on YouTube, and you watch this team, man. It's a great team, a really good team. You got Mallory, England, Chivers, Peters, Jennings, Perryman, Knowles. I mean, it's just full of it. And I can't remember which game it was. There's this one goal, and it's just it's a classic Tottenham Hotspur team goal. It's almost like all 11 players were involved. It was inevitable that this goal was going to go in the back of the opposition's net. But in fact, I think it might be one that Steve sent to me. Because he did send me a few clips and things. I don't even think I put it in the video. There's a couple of things I regret about not putting in the video, really. Perhaps a bit about, Steve at Exeter and also, receiving his MBE. But, I did what I did. Oh, I can't change away from YouTube, can I? Because it's... Coverage starts soon. Come on, Sky Sports. This is the only place you can catch the League Cup draw without gambling ads. Filthing up your minds. We're not having any of that on this channel. No gambling ads. Switched all that stuff off. Not having that. I'm not taking a cheap, dirty dollar. Making people's lives miserable. Richie B. Live EFL Cup draw with Hotspur Hippie. Thank you very much, man. And with you lot. We can share this glorious moment together. Who do we want? We do. Do we want someone? We do want someone easy, don't we? We do. I mean, not, you know what I mean by easy. A lower, less fancy team. But I didn't know that in in the UEFA Cup final in '72 that it could have been Ferencváros, Hungarian side that played Tottenham in the final. Like I said, I'm keeping an eye on that fixture at the moment. I think they might be playing today. Borac Banja Luka, which is I've got friends from there, so they're very keen for Banja Luka to get through and have a draw. Oh, it's tomorrow at 5 a.m. And have a tie against Tottenham Hotspur and in Banja Luka. Banja Luka, beautiful place. I had a great holiday over there. Went through Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Croatia, and wonderful places. Mark N. Dawson is a pundit. He is talking. Okie dokie. Blind as a bat. He was an animal, run through walls. Brilliant player. Oh. How's the Predictor Football League going? I didn't show it because of it's not going well for me. I'll put it that way. I'll come back to that tomorrow if you don't mind, or the next couple of days before the weekend. I don't want to sort of fart around with my PC too much at the moment because of the Zoom thing and all that. It might just be the final straw for it. So, but I know. Who was at the top? I think it's Psy Dancer 83, and I know I'm so bad at it. Don't come here for expert football opinions, man. Because every time I do the predictions, I just go with my heart. That's it. You ain't gonna win. I ain't gonna win it. Remember, just as I said before, if you wanted to thank Steve and myself, no super chats on this stream, but in the link in the description, there's Steve's charity, which is the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust. There's something that happened to Steve a few years ago. Had to be flown by helicopter. It was a close call. But I mean, look at him. Doesn't he look in good nick, man? Jeez, it's an inspiration. It's an inspiration seeing guys like that. And Keith Birkinshaw, 89 years old, amazing. Looks in fine, fatal, sharp as a tack. And I think I heard Glenn Oddle say, it might have been Glenn Oddle said something recently where, Spurs get accused of having no heart. Well, then how come Steve Perryman, Glenn Oddle and Ozzy Ardiles have all had heart problems? Because their hearts are so big. Blind as a bat. It's important for Berg, Berrival and Gray. When's this draw happening? When's this draw? I want to get to work. I do want to get to work. But, on my own boss, being a freelance logistical transport contractor. Sounds like Del Trotter, doesn't it? It's important for Berrival and Gray to get minutes, so an easy draw will do me. Okay, all right. We want to just ease our way into, because look, we're going to win the cup anyway. So you got to beat the best to be the best. That's the way I think of cups. I don't think there's any such thing as a bad draw. If you're not good enough to beat Manchester City in the final, you're not good enough to beat them in the first round. Just get it done. And if you get those teams knocked over early on, you can build a bit of momentum. Sir Les, yeah, there we go. He lifted it. Start now. Sky Sports Football, full coverage, Carabao Cup, third round draw, live, nothing. Rowan, you doing Carabao Cup draw watch along now, live in a couple of minutes? Yeah, I know. It's been saying that all morning though. Pierce Barrow, last time we won the league, we scored 115 goals. Well, just remind you, this is what I'm stapling my name to this year. Tottenham Hotspur will score over 100 goals. We will concede less than 60. And that's it. Premier League champions, that's it. Yeah, you're right. So, we scored 115 goals. 115 goals. Can you imagine that? I mean, imagine being a fan watching that. That would have... amazing days. Like, go and see Glory, Glory Days. It's on YouTube. Brilliant movie about that time. About that time. Written by Julie Welsh, who was Fleet Street's first... I believe she was Fleet Street's first female sports journalist. So there's a bit at the beginning of Glory, Glory Days, and this is set in 1983. Oh, here we go. We're on. I'll just turn that one there. So it's set in 1983, and there's a bit at the beginning of the film where, you know, the female journalist, she's given all sorts of shit by the blokes there, and I can imagine it, you know, it's realistic. But she was doing it 10 years before that. And she's a Spurs fan. Written a book about Tottenham Hotspur as well. Oh, they're going through the rules of... let's just make sure my audio is not coming through, actually, so I can listen to it without you lot listening to it. Yeah, that's working. I can hear it. You can't. They're going through some rules at the moment on how the draw is being done, and I am not understanding one single word of what they're saying. I thought it was just ping pong balls with numbers in a bag, but no, it's... it looks like it's sort of trying to keep big teams away from each other. It's like seeding. I don't like seeding. I'm not a fan of seeding. I don't like it. You know, I think they were talking about doing something like that in the FA Cup where, you know, a bit like Wimbledon, it's predetermined who's playing who in each round. I don't like it. I like the number 4, Dagenham and Redbridge. Number 2, Hayes FC, not Hayes and Yedding FC, Hayes FC. You know, I like that. Oh, well, they got a bowl at least, but the bowl's been rigged. The bowl's been rigged to keep teams apart. All right, here we go. Ooh. 16. Liverpool. West Ham United, all right. That's one we've escaped from. Liverpool versus West Ham. That's all right. That's good. Whew. Yeah, it's called Glory Glory Days, Marpin. Manchester City. Well, we're not getting them, apparently. Watford. Ooh. How many ties are there? Number 1, Plumstead FC. Ooh. Bolton Wanderers. Come on, Bolton. Come on, Bolton. You can do it. You can stuff the Arsenal. 18. Manchester United. Barnsley. Barnsley fans, make sure you bring an umbrella if you're going up to Old Trafford. Oh, and then they're changing the rules for the next balls. It's just like, oh, God, how complicated do you want to make picking balls out of a bowl? Wycombe Wanderers. Aston Villa. All right. I can't see this because it's on my phone. Is that Michael Dawson? It's Michael Dawson, isn't it? Hey. Les Ferdinand. Oh. I think Spurs are written all over victory with these two. In the play. All right, we've got Coventry. 23. Oh, fuck. Well, we're away at Coventry, folks. A replay of the 1987 FA Cup final, a game I've only watched once and I will never ever watch that one again. I remember it being a good game, but I'm not interested in seeing that. But we had a bloody good year that year. Like I said to Steve, I must have seen about 40 of Clive Allen's goals that year. Oh, Walsall Coventry, hey? How are we feeling about that? I think that's all right. I think that's all right. Walsall versus Leicester. So I'm losing interest now because Tottenham are done. But we'll go through it. We'll go through it. Brentford. One of Steve's old teams. Brentford versus Leyton Orient. They're billing that one as a London derby already. There's only one London derby. Spurs, Arsenal. All the other teams are jealous of us. Blackpool. Here we go. Stanley Matthews versus Sheffield Wednesday versus Trevor Francis. How about that? Preston North End. Football powerhouse early in the last century. Fulham, Rodney Marsh and George Best. Preston versus Fulham. They've got very similar kits. Everton. Southampton, Everton, our bunnies. Everton, our bunnies take on Laurie McMenemy's Southampton. QPR, actually, you know what? Let's do this proper old school. Been a while since I hit this button. Yes, here we go. This is more like it. The Football League Cup draw. Stoke versus Fleetwood. Oh, it's the computer people at Brighton. AI Brighton versus Wolves, the team we conquered in 72. Was it Martin Chivers? Martin Chivers got 2. AFC Wimbledon, the scary team. Newcastle. All right, well, they've been softened up a little bit tonight for us, haven't they? That's not a bad result for us. Newcastle getting pushed to the wire tonight. Bodes well for us on the weekend. Oh, Chelsea. Boo. Oh, Barrow. Oh, they're going to be full of it, aren't they? Oh, Chelsea. We beat them in the Cockney Cup final in 67. That'll do. Oh, that's it. That's pretty quick, eh? That's why I like the FA Cup draw. The FA Cup draw goes on for about 5 hours. 5 hours. Oh, well, so Spurs. What have I got? What picture have I got loaded? Oh, a cup. Hey. Spurs are away to Coventry. Hey, I think that's all right, man. I think that's all right. Hey, they're all good teams, eh? They're all professional football teams. And that concludes the draw for the third round of the Carabao League Cup, the Football League Cup. How are we feeling about that, folks? How are we feeling about that? Archibald, some shit. It's always what you want, isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to be a professional here, but you're right. Yeah, you just want someone crap at home. That's, but we didn't get it. We didn't get it. Sandeep Patel, all my highfalutin, you've got to beat the best to be the rest. Yeah, maybe deep down in my heart, yeah, you want someone crap at home. Destiny 5, vibrating or heating balls, it's all fixed. Oh, it might be magnets. Might be magnets. We've got Coventry City. Zapur, how did no Premier League teams get linked up? They were keeping, they were explaining it, and someone in the chat explained it. They were teams that are playing in European competition at the moment, they kept them apart for this round. You know, you've got to protect people apparently these days. Coventry, yes. FA Cup. We'll pass over that comment, Jacob. Right, so I'll definitely watch it. I found it. Thanks, Paul, for letting us know that such a movie existed. Oh, no, brilliant. Brilliant movie. Brilliant movie. Like I say, I haven't watched all of it yet because I just want to be, ready for it. I watched the beginning. I thought, you know what? This is going to take a special bit of time to really enjoy because I literally have not seen this film since I was like 12 or 13 and I loved it back then. Mark Beside, Madison is a Coventry City fan. Oh, he's a Spurs fan. Anyway, he's a professional footballer. Good draw. Okay, good draw. Better than Man City away. That's true. We'll be tougher than we wanted to be. They're always tough. They're always tough, man. They're always tough. Revenge for 87. Oh, it's quite revenge, man, but we don't talk about 87. We don't talk about 87. But we should win. I think so, Jacob. I think so. You don't want to be quietly confident, but I'm quietly confident. Let's go and stuff them. John Bond. Keith Hutchinson. I remember in... I was getting my teams confused there. I know because I remember in '81 when we played Manchester City, I think Dennis Stewart came on. Dennis Stewart came on for Manchester City. He had a good volley on him as well. And I think he played in the Wolves side that Spurs beat in '72. He was a good player. We should do Coventry. There we go. Yes, that's it. That's it. We should do Coventry. All right. I'm trying to be all magnanimous, fair play and all that. No, let's do a James Herriot on them. That's what we want to see. My football club's got trouble, veterinary. That's all right. I'll just stick my glove on and sort it out. That's what we want to do to Coventry. So, Prue, you wanted Arsenal, eh? Whew. Here we go. Howard Vale Spurs. Away to Coventry, yes. Smoking kills, yes, man. That's why it's a pretend cigarette. It only pretends to kill you. Chelsea will probably play their 8th or 9th team, yeah. Well, they've got about 50 teams at Chelsea, haven't they? So they might as well get a run out in something. They're such a shit show at the moment. Tard bowling. Let's play ball. He doesn't know anything about football, though. Right beside Spurs are on their way to Wembley. That's what we want. Coventry had a great run to the semis last year, almost beating Man United, if I remember right, but of course we got to smash them. We certainly did. We certainly did. Coventry, says Jim Brentar, Coventry should allow us to play at least a few of the kids. Yeah. Well, hang on. Remember what Steve said? And you know what? I'm so glad that Steve sort of caught himself saying kids as well, because I've heard Steve talk about this, and it's a word I've used, so I've tried myself not to use it. But at least Steve's only human, and he corrected himself straight away. But so yeah, a few of the young players. Sandeep Patel, the 87 final, man. I was the most confident of a Spurs fan. I can't tell you how much I thought we were going to win that game. I can't tell you how much I thought we were going to win it. Oh, poor Gary Mabbott. I mean, but you know what? Isn't that what, beautiful things happen in football? And yes, okay, it was horrible to lose that, but to see Gary Mabbott lift the cup 4 years later, great for him, great for him. Jim Brenner, a big thumbs up. Right, folks, look, you know what? I'm gonna have to shoot off, folks. But thanks very much for keeping me company. And like I said, sorry I couldn't quite get to much of your chat, but also we're time pressed. An hour is very easy for me to get to loads of comments and tap dance and stuff. But when I have a guest, it's about the guest. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the guest. They're spending time, and really, I want to hear them talk. That's what it comes down to. So that's the way I run it. Right, folks. Okie dokie. Thanks to everyone that's watched. Thank you, of course, to our captain, Steve Perryman, for his great time. I'm going to watch that back again because I think it was good. Not me, him. It was good. Thanks to everyone that's been commenting. If you want to leave a donation again for the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust, links in the description below. And just there's actually a friend of mine whose girlfriend had an operation to prevent that from happening in her. So it saves lives, man. Saves lives. If you click like and subscribe, thank you very much. But thank you very much for your company. I do appreciate it that there's people that choose everything they can watch. They join this for entertainment. I hope it's distracted you away from the bubba of 2024. There's always more in 24. And if you're listening to it on podcast afterwards, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's passed some time for you and been entertaining as always. I would like to finish the show by saying peace and love, man. Peace and love. And come on, you Spurs. It's Vamos. Can't get the stuff.